What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we're going to delve into some history, contemporary and past. You like history? I like history. I'm a bit of a student of history. Straight from the Detroit Free Press, there is an opinion piece that talks about President of the UAW, Shawn Fain. And it also gives a little bit of insight into why unions are so important. Now, if you watch my channel, you already know that I feel this new wave of reformer elected representation, Shawn Fain with the UAW, Sean O'Brien with the Teamsters, both are showing very good examples to our legacy labor unions on what the labor fight should look like moving forward. What should it look like moving forward is aggressive. Why? Because today we are at levels of income inequality unseen before in history, at least not since the Great Depression, and more probably than not even before that. That's right, boys and girls. We ain't making the money that we used to make, but the CEOs are making money hand over fist and buying new boats left and right. And it's across all industries. This isn't localized to Amazon and Tesla and Bezos and Musk. No. This is across all industries. The average CEO compensation, when compared to their median worker compensation, they are paid at a rate of close to 400 times the amount. Now, I don't know if you've ever met a boss, but they don't do the hard work. Bosses do not do 400 times the amount of work as their median worker. As a matter of fact, I would contend bosses do 1/400th of the work of what the workers do. Workers power all these ships. Workers power all these boats. And that's why it is vital that when we unionize and when we negotiate for our better contracts, we have to be aggressive. Massively aggressive with a chip on your shoulder, because we've been taken advantage of for far too long all across the industry, all across work life, all across the economy. Workers are getting shafted left and right, and just because you make a decent living in the IBEW does not mean that you too are not getting the short end of the stick. You are. You just might not know it yet, but you will. Let's dive on in. This is an opinion piece by Keith A. Owens of the Detroit Free Press. It was published today and updated at 1:30 this afternoon, and I want to read the article to you because I think it's important. It'll be in the description box. So let's check it out. Shawn Fain's bold negotiation strategy for UAW wasn't nuts. It worked. UAW President Shawn Fain deserves a lot of credit for the success of his go big or go home contract negotiation strategy. And I believe in giving credit where credit is due. He swung for the bleachers when more than a few folks were wondering if maybe Shawn was kind of nuts, asking for the things he was asking for. A 40% pay raise? Please, get real, Shawn. Seriously? Okay, so when it was all said and done, he didn't get a 40% raise for his union. His opening ask was based on the 40% pay raise already received by the automotive corporate CEOs over a 3-year period. What he did get his members was a 25% pay raise. Some of them even got more. Now think back, when was the last time your paycheck got a 25% bump? When was that? When was the last time your paycheck got a 25% bump? Oh, never, you say. Yeah, I figured that's what you were going to say. That's why I say that we need to aim high during negotiations, so that when we fall back down, we land where we want to be. But we got to aim high. You got to aim for what you deserve, more than what you deserve. That way, when you start to draw it back, you land where it's where you deserve to be. So many negotiators go into a room and they're mealy-mouthed and they're scared to demand what their membership deserves. But we deserve. We make all the money. We make all the profits. We deserve. Trust me, we deserve. Yeah, exactly. And if Fain had asked for 25% to start off the negotiations, they would have called him crazy for that too. That's right, because these are PR campaigns. They always say you're asking too much. They always cry broke. This is normal operating procedure. But there's no reason you can't look at their books and really see what they're making. There's no reason that can't happen. I think we can agree now that Fain wasn't crazy. Fain read the room. Fain knew why he was elected to lead the UAW, and he wasn't elected to play nice with corporate. He was elected because the membership had been getting fed up for a long time. This sounds so familiar to me. They were getting fed up as they watched corporate profits and corporate raises continue to skyrocket while their own paychecks remained stuck in park. Ultimately, that rumbling and grumbling about what was so obviously unfair boiled over into open dissent. It's not complicated. Fain was saying to corporate on behalf of the membership, hey, you guys seem to be doing okay, right? Seems to me you're doing okay largely because of the work my guys are doing. Only my guys are not doing okay. So I think we need to fix this, because with the money that you're making, we should all be doing okay. Which is pretty much what the union movement has always been about, which is why now would be a good time to step back into automotive history for just a moment. And yes, I'm well aware of the corruption that plagued unions too often in their later years, but unions hardly invented corruption, and corruption hardly defined what unions were and are all about. Anyway, Henry Ford hated unions, hated them, not a secret, employed all kinds of measures, including hiring a known bruiser and thug named Harry Bennett and putting him and his army of leg-breaking goons on the payroll to intimidate strikers and derail the union movement. Indeed, Ford was the last auto company to agree to unionization. And that was because Henry's wife, Clara Bryant Ford, after witnessing the notorious Battle of the Overpass, where Bennett's goons beat strikers bloody, Clara told her husband that if he didn't put an end to these bloody tactics, she would leave him. This was in 1941. And actually, Clara's threat was so potent that Henry wound up giving his workers a better deal than either GM or Chrysler. It was a deal in which Henry implemented the automatic deduction of union dues from workers' paychecks. This turnaround happened only hours after Ford had initially said he would fight against unionization to the bitter end and would never give in. Yeah, well. But it was also Henry Ford who lured workers to Detroit to work in his plants by offering a $5 a day wage for any and all workers, including black workers. For working people, especially black working people, $5 a day was unheard of, and so they came, a flood of races and ethnicities, to labor in Detroit's auto plants. And no, it wasn't all rosy and we shall overcome by any means. The black workers routinely got the worst and most dangerous jobs, and once the plants became unionized, it was another long and brutal fight for black laborers to be allowed into those ranks. Former Mayor Coleman A. Young was a prominent labor activist who was heavily involved in getting those rules changed. Understand something. The early trade union movement was exclusionary. They didn't want anyone that was not a white Protestant male in their unions. No one. The CIO was inclusionary, and they wanted all workers into their trades. The IWW was inclusionary and wanted to organize all classes of working people. But even with all the negative side effects that came with working in an auto plant, the fact that the auto industry in Detroit was instrumental in helping to create one of the largest black middle class populations in the nation, percentage-wise, if not the largest. And for years, up until fairly recently, where the rate of black homeownership dropped dramatically, Detroit also had one of the highest percentages of black homeowners anywhere in the country. In Detroit, blue-collar workers were making enough money to not to simply just get by, but to raise a family and enjoy a comfortable life. And that's partly because of Ford's strategy to pay his workers enough so that they could afford to purchase the cars that they were building. Not out of the goodness of his heart, but because it helped the company sell cars, and because hundreds of employees satisfied customers driving their brand new Fords off the lot and into their respective neighborhoods to show off to their family and friends was about the best unpaid advertising you can ask for. The massive reordering of society came about because of an admittedly imperfect visionary who revolutionized the entire world when he put the world on wheels via the mass production of the automobile, and the audacity of a union movement that believed owners shouldn't be the only ones allowed to benefit and profit from that industry. Shawn Fain read the room, and the writing on the wall was clear. It was time to remember why workers fought and died to create a union in the first place. It was time to get back to their roots. Hear, hear. Shawn Fain has turned into a labor leader that is exemplary on how to deal with big companies that like to stonewall and stiff-arm workers from what they rightfully deserve, because all profits are derived from the labor of working people. Bosses do not create profits. They only steal them from working people. Remember that. My name is Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Please keep in mind that the fight is not left and right. No, 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 no. The fight is up and down. And it will take solidarity to win. Always. Each one teach one. You get your butt out there, you reach one. Talk to your siblings. It's important. And keep in mind, we can't have a union without you and I front and center. Peace.